السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، ونصلي ونسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبعد. We have talked last time about the replies, and refutation and way of thinking of Ahl Sunnah in terms of what is related to the doubts, the shade on the Aqidah of Ahl Sunnah. And they say, okay, how come the qawl bil lisan only is good, like Al-Qurramiyya said, or qawl bil or tasdeeq, like saying that it's true what Rasulullah came with, and uh, and say La ilaha illallah with the tongue. This is enough for Iman. We said actually no, we have the commitment of the heart that actually established, because to know and to attest to the truthfulness of Risala, of the message, are not enough in order to, because it can happen with even Christians or Jews or anybody can say, okay, I agree, but I'm not going to obey this. It's not my thing. So we showed and we talked about some cases in the Sirah, and so the one thing that has factor that has to be added is the 3A, which the commitment and affirmation of the commitment in the heart to to obey, to attest to every statement came, and to obey every order came Rasulullah. Even if we didn't know it yet, we said anything it will come to our knowledge that it is truly came from Rasulullah. خلاص, we agree already. That's why Sahaba never hesitated when after they immigrated to Medina, because they already had this tawheed in their heart in Mecca all these years. So when the commands and taklif of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came during Medina, they never hesitated, not even for a second, because the principle is already there, is already settled in their hearts. And we say, wonder, how can they do it right away? Like, it is because Tawheed is settled in their hearts. Whoever argue about any of this, Tawheed is not settled in his heart. Whoever say, explain to me why. Khanzir, what is wrong about Khanzir? There is nothing wrong about Khanzir. Allah said, don't eat it. That's what's wrong with it, with eating pigs or ham or whatever. What's wrong with khamr? Nothing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself said, فيهما إثم كبير ومنافع للناس. They have a lot of bad things, but and they have some good. So they have some good. So people say, okay, why don't we take the good and leave the bad? We say, you don't understand. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, this is tawheed. This is the commitment to this. So if this commitment not there, there's no tawheed, no matter what you do about knowing and attesting. So that's the point we are trying to explain, and we went over a hadith. We said there is a rule which called al-jam' bayn atraf al-adilla, which means to connect and closely consider the different proofs all together. We can't say, we can't leave a hadith or proof or proof in Sharia and take it and say the other things. No, no, we don't talk about this. We don't want this. This is not the way of thinking of Al Sunnah. Thinking Al Sunnah is to connect and closely join the proof together, put them together. And in that light, we looked at a lot of hadith that talks about the how people go, Allah subhanahu Rasulullah said, Man qala la ilaha illallah. We have seen that in the same hadith, in the same book in Bukhari or Muslim, the second hadith under it right away. Man abad Allah, whoever worshipped Allah and kafara bimadun and made kufr whatever else. So man qala Allah means man wahad Allah and abad and kafara bimadun. And in a third one, من وحد الله. So توحيد الله is عبادة الله, is leaving the shirk, is saying لا إله إلا الله. So we can say, no, it's قول لا إله إلا الله. It's the saying of لا إله إلا الله. We don't care about the rest of the hadith. No, how? Why? This is the hadith of Rasulullah came through sometimes the same Sahabi even, sometime another Sahabi in the same reference, in the same book. So this is one of the methods we have to put in our mind, joining and connecting the different proofs in Sharia all together. So we understand the whole picture. Because we have to understand that in the life of Rasulullah, Islam came over 23 years. It is not like they have this Bible. Of course, the Bible is all, wrong. Like 90 nowadays, 95% is wrong. Maybe 5% there are still some authenticity, but mostly it's wrong. They wrote it themselves. So they say, oh, here is no. Our Islam came over 23. The full picture of Islam, the full commands of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala came over 23 years. So it's a lifetime. And through life, people talk. Rasulullah talk like humans, like any other human. He is a human, the best human, number one, but he is still a human. So he used to talk. So he used to say something and then explain it the second day. Then expand on it the third day or a week or a month when something happens. There is nothing that you can, except if you generalize things. Like in Quran, Quran talks about generalization of all these principles and things and stuff, and the stories and stuff like that. This you can give in one place, like proofs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Different proofs, different things, but it is a proof of ayatullah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It comes to the same conclusion, one conclusion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exists and he is the one that created us. And the message is, since you know that he's the one who created us, then worship him and follow him and obey him. So that can happen in Quran, but in Sunnah, it can't happen this way. The Sunnah came to deal with the daily life of people. So it can be explained over and over and expanded on and elaborates and all these things all the time. So we have to consider the different saying of Rasulullah in different times in order to understand the whole thing. Otherwise, we are not considering, we are not understanding Islam that Rasulullah came with over the 23 years. We have Islam that was said in one thing and that's it, and we deny the rest. And that's not our deal. Because at the end of the Risala, Quran came after the 23 years of the life of our beloved Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He said, close to his death, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي وَرَضِيتُ لَكُمُ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا. Today, see, after 23 years, I completed deen for you. And I completed all my blessing over you. وَأَتْمَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعْمَتِي وَرَضِيتُ لَكُمْ. And I'm content with giving you Islam as your deen to follow. That's after 23. It didn't come in the beginning, because neither Islam nor the explanation of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came. So that's why we have this rule of connecting and joining all the proofs and looking at it as a whole together in order to understand what Islam is. So this is the first rule with which we refute the sayings of this murji'ah about man qala la ilaha illallah. The second one is to look at the reality of the shahadatain. They say man qala la ilaha illallah. We say, okay, man qala la ilaha illallah, but what is la ilaha illallah? First of all, we explain that man qala Allah is this and is this and is this in the hadith. And also, even the saying, what does it mean? We know that just saying is not what we talk about. لأن Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, like al-munafiqun used to say to Rasulullah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Al-munafiqun at the time of Rasulullah, and go to prayer and everything, and used to say la ilaha. If it was only saying, why they call the munafiqun and why they are kuffar? How come? Surah al-Munafiqun, إذا جاءك المنافقون قالوا نشهد إنك لرسول الله. If the munafiqun, the hypocrites, came to you and say, نشهد أن لا إله إلا الله والله يعلم إنك لرسول, and then he make exception to make you understand, yes, of course, Allah knows that you are his messenger. والله يشهد إن المنافقين لكاذبون. But Allah is testifying to the fact that they are liars. And look why he did this sentence in the middle. والله, and Allah knows that, because if he said إذا جاءك المنافقون قالوا نشهد إنك رسول الله, if they came to you say نشهد أن لا إله إلا الله, and he said directly والله يشهد إن المنافقين كاذبون, people will say, oh, Allah testing that they are liars, so he is not Rasulullah. So he made in the middle a warning that yes, I know you are Rasulullah, but they are liars. So they are liars about what they say inside. So saying doesn't mean anything. It's only, like we said before, it's a dilala. It's a sign of, like when you see a sign, of course, with the difference, when you see a sign in a restaurant, meat and this meat and shrimp and kufta and stuff. When you read it, you don't feel satisfied, and you don't feel that your stomach, oh, alhamdulillah, I'm full now. You don't feel full. You're just reading it. It's just a title. You have to go in, order, eat, and the body start to digest and stuff. Then you feel full, and you don't forget to pay, of course. So that's the way we read the saying of La ilaha illallah. It is just a title. Of course, there were some shubuhat, doubts and stuff they threw on this. They say, okay, but why Rasulullah, there were munafiqeen and he knew that they are munafiqeen, he didn't kill them or anything. That's because they say La ilaha illallah, he didn't kill them. He said, no, it's not. First of all, this is Rasulullah. He knew for sure that these are munafiqun. Who is now can do that? Know that this guy who say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, he doesn't have anything in his heart. He doesn't have commit. We don't know. We know who is sinning, but there is nobody like Rasulullah who knows that. Oh no, you are not going to trick me. I know inside your heart. There is nobody like this. It's only at the time of Rasulullah. So why didn't he kill him if he knew? Because he is telling us you cannot judge and pass rulings on people based on what's in their heart. He can do that on his own, but he cannot teach the people because people say, "How do you know? They didn't do anything wrong." So that's one reason. The second reason is that at that time there was reasons why he let these people go because there was kuffar around Medina, and if they start to hear that there are people, big people, names in Medina, they told him they are Muslims already and made shahada and everything, and he's still killing them. Imagine, you know? So they will be deterred from coming to Islam. So this is another thing that made that, and that's the explanation actually that is consensus between Ahl Sunnah and Ibn al-Qayyim wrote it in Zad al-Ma'ad in the third volume. So that's another thing. Uh, Ibn al-Qayyim said in that place that said that إن المنافقين يقولونها بألسانهم. The hypocrites say it with their tongues. وهم, and they are under even the worst kuffar in Jannah, in Nar. Worst kuffar in Nar is because they didn't have any commitment in their hearts to it. So another thing actually we have to understand is this rule. Any uh, any statement from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, any command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the shape of just a statement or to say that doesn't that Allah said there will be a thawab for it, or of course being a Muslim is the biggest thawab. So the statement of saying La ilaha illallah, the biggest thawab, or people say Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, any statement that you say that you expect thawab from it, like praising some Sahaba or this or that. Ibn Qayyim saying, if any statement like this, if it's made in Sharia, the intention of this statement is the full and complete uh, 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 meaning of the statement. It's the complete. It is not just saying by tongue. It's by that. If somebody is like he's like half conscious, and he kept saying Subhanallah. There is no thawab because he doesn't know what he's saying. If somebody is knocked out and he said in his some kafir, and he said La ilaha illallah, we can say, oh, because he's subconscious. He's unconscious. He doesn't mean the word. It has to carry its meaning. If it carries thawab with it, so الثواب is built on understanding the full uh, 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 the full uh, like meanings that is uh, uh, engulfed in this statement, that this statement carries the full one, not part, not only saying and not only feeling. It has to be the saying and the you said, oh, I have La ilaha in my heart, I'm not going to say it. No, 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 no. You have to say it and mean it. It has to carry the full grasp of the meaning and the saying together. So this is a very, very big rule in Islam. This came actually in the book of Madarij al-Salikin, Ibn al-Qayyim. And where this come from? It came from the fact, another rule. We are, I'm very concerned with telling the rules, because rules is what has to be established so you can use it. You know, it's very important to know the rules and the foundation of where these come from. This also come from the fact that the letters and words we pronounce doesn't come for itself. It come to express a meaning. Like any word, there are, if you say anything, valamala, what is this? Valamala, what is valamala? Nothing. It's nothing, because it came not, it's just saying something. It doesn't express a meaning. Words came to express a meaning. You know, if you can, that's why Fuqaha said, if somebody is how about somebody who is what they call the one who can't speak? Somebody can't speak. He's got so his tongue is gone. He can't. He lost this sense. He can't be a Muslim? No, of course he can. So Fuqaha said, even if he made a gesture with his hands that make us understand that he become a Muslim, that's enough. He become a Muslim. You know, so because it replaces the words. The words came to express. If you can express with any other way, you express, but it has to be zahir. It has to be an obvious and seen and apparent to people. Zahir. You can't say, "Oh, I'm expressing in my heart," but there is nothing. No, your heart has nothing to do with your heart. You have to express by something that we believe that is indicative of you accepting Islam. I remember, if he's mute, if somebody is mute. So this is very important rule again, that words come to express meanings. It doesn't come. It don't. Words don't come for themselves. They come to express meanings, to reflect a meaning. So Allah Subhanahu wa Taala put these words on the tongue of humans in order to express what's in the heart. So so they have to be connected. That's why action has to, if you say something and you do, and then you come and do everything against it, you never do anything ever in your life that support that, we say, oh, maybe we can say this is a kafir. But in reality, because we said there are two things, in dunya and in reality, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In reality, in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is kufr, 100%. But now it's between you and Allah, because we didn't see anything, unless we see something that proves to us that you are a kafir. That's different. We are saying we cannot say anybody is a kafir if he didn't do anything obligatory. Like we didn't see him pray, we didn't see him fast. But if we saw him kneeling in front of an idol, that's different. That's kufr. That's why the actions of kufr refutes tawheed right away. You don't have to say anything. That's a huge difference between us and Murji'ah and Jahmi. They say if you want to say somebody's kafir, he has to do something. He has to say something to the fact that he's a kafir. If even if you do all the kufr things, yeah, yeah. Even if you do all the kufr, it's the saying, because that's where does that come from? Come from the fact that they say Iman is what is said by the tongue. So kufr is what said by the tongue that is opposes it. It's clear. We say no. It's what's said by the tongue, what's done by the action, what refutes the tawheed in any way, shape, or type. It doesn't matter how. That's a matter of action kufr. But the actions of obligations, the command and stuff, we don't know. Maybe you are doing it on your own. Maybe you're doing it alone. Maybe we don't know. We're just saying that if you didn't do it at all, like the type of action, like we said before, if you're not doing it, you have to understand that you are not on Islam. That's just da'wah. Like somebody making say, "Oh, I own this house." It's just a claim. You claiming. If you claim, it doesn't mean anything for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is in terms of the reality of Shahada. Uh, through centuries, starting from the beginning of Murji'ah, they came uh, with uh, things that or doubts that they shadow from stories in Sirah. We say, oh, then why this? Why this? There are four major stories or doubts they spread amongst people, and we all hear it, and some of us know how to reply and how to understand the reality of it, the truth. Some don't. So these are very important to talk about these stories in detail and show, because these are the major things they talk about. First of all, the uncle of Rasulullah, Abu Talib. The second is the Jariyat Muawiyah ibn al-Hakam. Jariyah, Jawari, the Jariyah, uh, the slave of Muawiyah. مؤمن آل فرعون, the person who said وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى, قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين, مؤمن آل فرعون. And النجاشي, the emperor of was Ethiopia at the time, Habasha. These four things they throw in the faces of Ahl Sunnah, and say these are the proofs. These prove that you are wrong, what you said wrong. So we are going to consider that. But before we consider that, we have to explain another rule, very important rule. How we establish any rule in Sharia. We establish a rule. There are two things to establish a rule. Either a rule established by the text itself, like it's a general statement from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inna Allah ala kulli shayin qadir. These statements, it's a general statement. Like وآتوا الفقراء صدقاتهن نحلة. Give the fuqara their uh, وآتوا النساء صدقاتهن نحلة. النساء, استغفر الله. وآتوا النساء, give the women you marry their dowry. So uh, this is عام for all women. So this is a rule established by the text itself in one text. We call it عموم. When you study usul fiqh, it's called it العموم, generality. So the general text of Quran or Sunnah establishes in one thing. When Rasulullah was asked about is water uh, of the sea clear, طهور, clear, he gave a general answer. He says هو الطهور ماؤه الحل ميتته. he didn't say yes, he make it generalized. He said, هو الطهور معه. The sea is the one with clear water for tahur, for tahara, and it's death, it's dead. The fish he means is dead are halal for you. So he gives general. So this is called general statement. So this is one way to get rules established in Sharia. It's called العموم. العموم comes from two ways. This is the first one. عموم in text. One text gives you the general statement, gives you general rule. The other one is علماء usul, they said it's even stronger than this one, which is when a meaning, a specific meaning, come in Sharia, in many hadith, and in ayat, in many ayat, all connected. When you look at all of these, they give you one implication. It implies one thing. So this means that this implication is a general rule without it coming in a specific saying, one saying. It can come in one saying, but it doesn't matter. It came in 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 a wide range of hadith and sunnah and stories, Hayat Rasulullah or Quran. We'll give example like removing the darar, رفع الضرر, like removing any uh, 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 harmship. Removing harm, not accepting any hardship. We can't accept any hardship. Like we call for the benefits of things, we call for to do the benefits, and we restrain harm, from harming anybody. So restraining from harm there's no hadith actually. In all the hadith say whoever can Muslim restrain from harm. There is nothing. There is only one hadith, and this hadith is da'if. It's not hadith. It can't establish really a rule because the sanad is daif. But how removing or restraining from harm is one of the biggest rules in Sharia, because this meaning came in hundreds and hundreds of hadith, the meaning of it in hadith and in Quran. You know, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لا تضار والدة بولدها ولا مولود ولا مولود له بولده ولا يضر لا تضار والدة بولدها. So he said that the mother does not carry harm because of her kid, and the father is the same. So it means that there is no harm. Harm is not is unacceptable, and it is not part of the sunnah of Allah subhanahu to be carried out by in the lives of humans. Also, they forbid Rasulullah forbid people from making hafr, like holes in the roads, in the general roads. It is haram to do any why? Why he did that? Why did that? In fiqh. Because people can walk and have harm. Harm themselves. They fall in the thing. Many things in the hadith of Zubair ibn al-Awwam, when somebody the channel that brings water to Zubair passed through a land of another guy. So the guy said, "It's my land. I want to close it." So they said to Rasulullah, so he said, "No, you open it. It is, if you do that, it will kill the land of Zubayr." Why? Because cannot be, harm should be restrained. Hundreds, not one, two, three, 500. No, it's hundreds of story and hundreds of rules in Sharia tells us that uh, 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 harm should be restrained. So this is putting all the juz'iyat, the parts and parcels and parts, put all together into the one parcel. So in order uh, to have to be a foundation, a rule to be used. How? By looking into the Sharia here and here and here and here and here, all these little juz'iyat, parts and everything, and then we say, oh, they have a common meaning. So that meaning is very, very strong. It cannot be refuted. If hadith or two or three or five came in Sharia and they show that, oh, but harm can be not restrained, it can happen. We can never do that. We say, no, no, look again in this hadith because it can't be accepted like this. Because if you accept this, then you are saying that five hadith in front of hundreds of hadith and ayah. How can this happen? So only rules can be compared to rules. So if a meaning came and it rises to the point where it's carried in many of Sharia, and it shows against any other rule, then we think about it. But it never happened in Sharia. It didn't happen. But istiqra' al-tam, the full inspection of Sharia, shows that this doesn't happen. So that's a very important rule to these little 1, 2, 3 hadith, 5 hadith, or ayah, or something like that. What is it called? It's called qadaya al-a'yan. They are called qadaya al-ayan in Sharia, means the specific uh, specific uh, proofs, specific text. Qadaya ayn means this specific thing. It can't stand in against a general rule. So قضايا الأعيان, these specific things cannot refute this, because this is what they do, as I will explain. The other thing is called حكايات الأحوال. What is حكاية الحال? حكاية الحال means a story. They mean the story from our Salaf, the story of one of the Salaf. حكاية الحال is somebody say, like like there is a rule to make salah light on people. Don't make it long, and so somebody, if you say, oh, look, we hear this guy is in Salaf, Sahabi or Tabi'i, or he used to read all Quran in Salat al-Isha. We say this is Hikayat Hal. It's a story of a guy, of a person. It cannot be put as a rule. The rule, Rasulullah explained, and all his life was praying this way. All the Sahaba, when they are leading people, if one of the Sahaba came in story that he was doing much more than that, like Sayyidina Uthman, who used to read a lot of Quran, 3 juz. Rasulullah himself used to, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he used to do like Al-Baqarah, Al-Imran, Nisa, and sometimes on his own, but not with people, because people can't take that. So we say this is Hikayat Hal on Rasulullah, Hikayat Hal from this guy. It does not stand against the general rule. So two things, قضايا الأعيان, حكايات الأحوال, can't stand. Specific thing or story about somebody, they cannot. So these are the two. This is the rule that I wanted to explain to you before we get into the four major doubts that Murji'a cast: Abu Talib, the slave of Muawiyah ibn al-Hakam, the mu'min of al-Fir'aun, and al-Najashi. And we are going to do that, inshallah, in the next lecture. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.